Hi everyone, welcome back to Slimefun 101. My name's Whittley, and today we're going to be looking at GPS systems. We are just going to be covering the basics, so I'll be covering satellites, oil pumps and geominers. There's a lot more available within the GPS system, but this is all I'll be covering in this particular tutorial. Look out for a more detailed one on the other aspects in a later video. So let's have a look inside our guide. If we have a look, we're looking for GPS based machines, and inside here we've got a lot of new things. We've got GPS transmitters, they get more powerful, we've got a control panel, GPS markers, geoscanner, portable geoscanner, oil pump and so on. So how does it work? Well, as you can see, I've left my little Slimefun room. My house is down there somewhere, and we're on this floating platform. If I press F3 and we have a look at the Y coordinate, you'll see that I'm at a Y value of 242. Because if you're going to make satellites, you want them as high up in the sky as you can, and outer space for Minecraft is 256. So we'll get up to that kind of a height. The reason why this is important is that you need to build up your satellite network in order to be able to do more things. And I'll show you that if we place a GPS control panel. Just pop that there. If you look inside the panel, you'll see we've got transmitter overview, network info, ours is currently offline, and we have a waypoint overview. That'll be covered in a further tutorial. Here we've got a panel that will show us all of our satellites once we start placing them. And as you can see, I've placed this control panel next to a capacitor because it has to be connected into an electricity network. The next thing we're going to place is we're going to place a GPS transmitter. So if you think about it, this is one of your orbiting satellites. However, in Minecraft it's not going to go anywhere, but it's still going to do the same thing. So if we place that down, but before we do, I'm just going to show you. The GPS transmitter can store up to 16 joules, and it needs 2 joules per second to transmit. Now that's a great thing because it means, unlike me who's built a rather big island, you could make a 4x4 block and place a basic solar panel, a small capacitor, and your satellite would be powered all day and all night, because the electricity stored in the small capacitor and in the satellite would power it during the night when there's no sun, and you don't need to worry about it. However, because I can do creative, I just made a really big island. Now if we go back and have a look at the GPS control panel, you can now see the satellite is in this panel. You can see where it is in the world. You can see its signal strength, which is 242, and we've even got a fake ping. Looks convincing. So that strength of 242, you might have noticed, lines up with how high on the y-axis we are. So because we've placed that at a height of 242, it has a signal strength of 242. Now, what can you do once you've done this? Okay, it's great, you've put your satellites up. If you have a look, we have something called a portable geoscanner, and each chunk in the world has hidden resources. And we're going to use the geoscanner to scan for those resources so we can mine them. Now, if I try and use it just now, if my chat was shown, it would say you need at least 600 complexity in your network. Our network at the moment only has a complexity of 242 because we only have one satellite placed on the y-axis at 242. So let's place some more satellites. Now, I like to try and space them out. Now the one thing you will need to use when you're using the geoscanner and using GPS systems is you want to be able to see your chunk borders. You can see the chunk borders by pressing the F3 key and G at the same time, and you'll see these bounding boxes that will show you the boundary of each chunk. So I've got a satellite in this chunk. I'm going to go and place a satellite in this chunk, in the next chunk, and we'll place another one in the next chunk. If we go back and have a look at the control panel, and for good measure, I don't have enough space. Where else can we put one? No, that'll do. So if we have a look inside the control panel, we have got 3 transmitters, all with signal strength 242, which gives us a total complexity of 726. We've now met the minimum requirement of 600 to start to geomine. So if we take our portable geoscanner, we want to click on the satellite, and it will bring up the geoscan results. So the chunk that the satellite is in has 0 nether ice. If you were scanning and doing this in the nether, you would find nether ice. We can have 15 units of oil, 13 units of salt, and 6 units of uranium. Now, how do we get that out of the chunk? So for the oil, we want to place an oil pump. So we'll place that down and get it to line up. There we go. And inside here we've got the usual electric interface. Into here we want to place some buckets, and we can see it's now drilling for oil. And what about the other minerals that are in the chunk? Well, if we place a GeoMiner, we can see that it's now found the small chunks of uranium. It's starting to pick that up, and again it has an interface. We can see how long it's going to take, and the things that it picks up are going to appear inside this section here. And because we've got our control panel, we've got other satellites, we can take our geoscanner and we can go and scan the other chunks. So this chunk has 12 oil, 6 uranium, 8 salt, again 0 nether ice. But again we can place another oil pump and pop some buckets in. Same again, we can do a geominer, we can do an oil pump, and if we scan, we've got 11 buckets of oil and we've got 5 uranium. So that is the basics of it. Now, different biomes, when you scan them, will have different results. So for example, if you're over an oceanic biome, that will have more oil. If you're over a desert, that will have more salt, and so on. However, once a chunk has had its resources mined, there will be no more resources available in that chunk. So there is a finite amount of resources. So once you've scanned, you'll need to expand your network. You could either break it and replace it, or you could just keep adding more satellites and build up your complexity. Now, I'm one of these people, I kind of just keep moving things around, make new bases, so I've never actually filled this up with satellites. I'm sure somebody has, but to me it's more than enough. So that is the basics of geoscanning, GPS systems and drilling for oil. I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and remember, if these are helping, remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and most of all, come and join us on play.wondercraft.tv. We'll be happy to have you. Goodbye.